Welcome to our Friday edition of News Hour. I am Henry Baguma, and tonight is rather a special program in that we are giving you a chance to call in and participate. Our line is 031202205500. I repeat again, 031202205500. That's our telephone line to call and participate in tonight's program. Also, give you a chance to send us an SMS message line on 0793861894. Text message or SMS message line is 0793861894. The topic tonight we are going to discuss is lightning and thunderstorm. As you may recall, until recently, 3 children were killed by lightning in Kampala yesterday, and 1 is seriously sick. Last week, 6 other people were killed in northern Uganda. So the country is beginning to experience lightning in the country. What do we do? How do we protect ourselves against this serious issue? Lightning is a very serious matter, and of course, when it hits, you never know when and how do you escape it. So that's why we have organized this topic for you to participate so that Uganda is a safe country. I'll be hosting Benon Fred TWINAMASIKO, Makerere University, and Ahura Kuriaka Mary, weather meteorologist officer in the Ministry of Weather. Now, they're all here in the studio to handle this topic. I'm Henry Baguma in the studio. Tonight we are focusing on lightning, and of course we give you a chance to participate by giving us a call 031202205500. That's the line you'll call us shortly after our commercial break. But what exactly is lightning? Madam Ahura Kuriaka Mary, you are in charge of this department. What exactly is lightning?
Lightning is a flash of light which is seen in the air and is followed by a sharp rumbling sound called thunder.
Okay, thank you very much. You are going to hear more of that. Experts are here in the studio. Benon Fred TWINAMASIKO from Makerere University and Ahura Kuriaka Mary from the National Meteorological Center in Tebe. They are here to handle this subject. Remember, only yesterday, lightning killed almost 9 people, 6 in northern Uganda and 3 in western Uganda. Shortly after break.
You are the ability to speak, to be heard, to speak of what is happening, what's going on, what's taking place at home.
You are still tuned to UBC Radio. I'm Henry Baguma. And tonight, as I said earlier, we are going to focus on lightning, which is emerging serious case here in Uganda. Already 9 people have died this week alone, 6 in northern Uganda and 3 in western Uganda. But we need to prevent this because it's a serious matter. And of course, when lightning hits, you never know and at what time, and you need to protect yourself against it. And that's why you need to listen carefully and participate with experts who are here in the studio. Ask as many questions as you can so that you get the answers to prevent yourself and myself and Uganda in general. I'm having Mr. Benon Fred TWINAMASIKO, who is a physician at Makerere University, and Madam Ahura Kuriaka Mary, Weather Forecast, National Meteorological Center in Tebe. They are here to handle this subject. Our telephone line is 031202205500. That is a telephone line. If you cannot, you can as well send us SMS message on 07938611894. I repeat, SMS message line is 07938611894. Ask as many questions as you can so that you get the answers regarding this serious issue. 03120220550 is the line for calling. But as we proceed, let me first introduce you my guests here in the studio. They talk to me about what they do, and we proceed. Let's start with Mr. Benon TWINAMASIKO.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Benon Fred TWINAMASIKO. I'm a physicist from Physics Department, Makerere University.
I am Ahura Kuriaka Mary, a weather forecaster at the National Meteorological Center, Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start straight away with Mr. Benon Fred TWINAMASIKO. You are a physician at Makerere University. What exactly is lightning? What do you understand by this statement?
Thank you, Baguma. Actually, I'm a physicist. That's how they call us. So I will start by explaining about lightning. And first of all is to show people that this is a scientific phenomenon. And this scientific phenomenon comes from, the geography. We all know that water evaporates. After evaporating, it rises up in the sky, and then condensation takes place. When condensation takes place, if this water moisture raises so high, then we get ice particles forming up. When ice particles are formed up, then you get what we call these ice particles start rubbing each other, and then we get an electrostatic charge happening. The positive charges go upwards and the negative charges go downwards. And then you get now all objects on Earth becoming positively charged because of the charge which was caused on the top cloud. This charge builds up. If it is a cumulonimbus cloud, it builds up so much that you get about a million volts per meter. And then you have also the voltage, the current also goes to about 40,000. Now when this happens, you get a high voltage, and this high voltage is comparable to when you see somebody welding metals. You see always when someone is welding, you see a spark and you hear some popping sound, po po po, because you are making a high voltage, which is this Katwe made machine is a transformer. It transforms about 220 volts which we use in our houses, to about 40,000 volts. And when you get welding metal, it sparks. So that's what happens normally.
Okay.
That's what we can explain as lightning. How
Okay,
it is formed.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Here, this report says that recent statistics on lightning incidences in Uganda from January 2007 to 2011 say 44 incidences occurred where the victims were inside the structures, which encountered for 89 personal deaths and 465 personal injuries. Quite a very huge number indeed. Madam Ahura Kuriaka, can you add on this topic? How serious is this lightning in Uganda?
Lightning in Uganda is serious. It is causing serious economic loss. It is killing people. It is injuring people. To date, starting with January 2012 up to date, 66 people have been killed and 79 people have been injured by lightning.
So let me go back to the physician. How can one prevent this?
First of all, I wish it could be a policy, but every building should be having a lightning conductor. Most people call them lightning arresters. This is a metal rod which is put on top of the building, and then it has a strip which goes in the ground for earthing. We do earthing because when all this amount of voltage is created in the cloud, then it is conducted through this rod into the ground. I will not go deep into the physics and the science of this. Now, any installation which should be having a big number of people as a family, or it is a cinema, anything that you concern that there are going to be people, it is a must that you should have a lightning conductor on that building. And then also, if you are not in a building, you are in a grazing ground, or you are out there digging and it starts threatening to rain, don't remain high raised in the rain. Make sure that you squat down and put your head between the legs. We call it crouching. And then wait until when it finishes raining. It is better to be wetted, if we can say that, rather than being killed by the lightning. And also, if you are in the house, make sure you avoid the telephone. Being on telephone, if the thunderstorm is some distance away, even if it is about 10 miles, because lightning can travel about 10 miles, try to avoid using a corded telephone. At least use a mobile phone if you have to make an emergency call. Avoid taking a shower because the water comes from a far away distance. And also keep away from the electronics. You can even switch them off.
Yes, sir. You talk about avoiding some of this, and in the era of ICT now, really, is that not becoming a danger? For example, communication, people on computer, people on laptops, people are talking on the phone. I mean, it's too much because ICT now is part of our life.
Indeed, that is true. That's why normally when it's threatening to rain or already raining, we always tend to see umeme switching off. It's not because either a pole has fallen down or wires have been broken, but it's a precautionary measure. That because people cannot run away from their entertaining programs on radio or on TV, it's better to do it centrally. Because when this amount of voltage is added on this grid line, then it can cause a surge in your electronics and destroy them. So they normally do the shutdown to make sure they avoid that. But when we talk of ICT, if you are using a modem, for example, and you are using a laptop battery without any connection links, and you are either on a woolen carpet or on a plastic carpet, or you are putting on some rubber shoes, you are a little bit helped. But why would you risk your life when you could wait until when the storm is over? No storm can last for hours.
Okay, Madam Ahura, you are from the National Meteorological Center. Any plans by government, for example, to educate the population, to educate the public on putting measures to control the impact of lightning?
Yeah, the government is putting on measures. It is now going to get lightning detectors, which will make total lightning data detection, and it will improve on the weather on the monitoring of the local weather condition. Even the Department of Meteorology is committed to providing to improve its public weather systems by putting on the weather radios and any other instruments which are necessary. All right, before you go, you should stay active, you should stay alert, you should monitor local weather conditions regularly with specific weather conditions. You should always take shelter in enclosed buildings where thunder and lightning storms can be detected. We are in the process of having lightning detectors, just portable ones, which can be employed on maybe on the athletic grounds for detection of lightning. Also, we as individuals, we should be able to detect lightning. We should detect our lightning just by seeing our skin how it tingles, and even if our hair stands straight, we should be able to detect the lightning it is about to strike. And we should also know that lightning can strike a distance of 10 kilometers, and we can determine how far lightning is from us by taking two successive standards. The distance of 1 kilometer is equivalent to 5 seconds. Okay. And you should always know that you have to be 30 minutes away from thunderstorm.
Okay, Mr. Benon TWINAMASIKO, I'm sure you have moved around the Kampala and seen the building in the city. Do you think most of them comply with this issue?
Definitely not. A bunch of them do not have the lightning conductors. But why we are safe from the lightning effects in the middle of the city is fairly because of the earthing. Because at least by the regulations of UMEME, as a electricity supplier, they make sure that you have the minimum standards of supply you with electricity. So that has helped a little bit, because this is a network of poles all around the city and far away up to Ginger. So they reduce to about over 50% the chances of a building being struck by lightning. That's why you won't hear any installation within urban places being struck by lightning. And even when we talk of one of the masts which were shattered by lightning in the north, it could have been that maybe they had stolen a piece of this lightning conductor strip which should be going in the ground for earthing. So most likely you'll find that a bunch of buildings that don't have the lightning conductors, but they are saved due to the idea of the morphology of the landscape of Kampala itself, because most of the hills are having masts which are definitely having lightning conductors. So those will conduct any amount of voltage being built up in the clouds around Kampala. So that's why we are a bit safe. But still, to be secure, each building, each installation should be having a lightning conductor.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me open the line for members of the public. The line is open for you, members of the public, 031202205500 is the line. You can give us a call now if you want to ask anything regarding this lightning issue, and then the experts here in the studio will answer you. And as I wait for you over there to call and talk to us about this lightning, let me go back to Mr. TWINAMASIKO. Do you think that really, generally, the country is safe? Because we are beginning to hear some children, particularly children and cows, being killed up country.
Well, I can't say that we are safe because the storms are still on. But I would like to caution people because the safety precautions are simple. I'll start with the people who are in the city. If you are in the city, of course, we will say keep away from electronics when it is a storm. If you are in a car, the car is the safest place. In physics, we call it a Faraday cage, that it cuts out, the charge goes around the body of the car. By the time this charge is going to come to you and strike you, it has already distributed itself, so the effects are low. And but even if you are in a car, make sure all the windscreens are closed. Keep away from metallic things like the key, or if the steering is not having the cover, don't touch anything metallic, and you'll be safe in a car. At least park somewhere, pull over and do something, wait for it as the storm goes away. In up country, we talk on radio, but sometimes some people are not actually on the radio or are not watching TVs. But we hope with the sensitization now going on, the country will be able to understand these simple precautions. Even if we talk of the rubber shoes being protective, you'll find that some people will put on rubber shoes but with holes underneath. As anyone knows that we tend to make our shoes tear and wear, and still you find that the insulation which should have been there, the water is going through the shoes and you can be still struck. So the precautions are, if it is threatening to rain, crouch, do not lie down in the muddy water or in the rainwater, because then you will conduct the side flash and then you will be also struck even if it is far away. So try to crouch and keep your feet as close as possible. Be the lowest point. Do not hide in the caves. Trying to go in my village, we would dig a hole in the terrace and keep there. Do not be in a terrace. At least be on an open ground, but try to bend low and crouch, or what we can call squatting. And if you are still in the city, don't take a shower when it is raining. It is better you just, try to sit somewhere in your living room, wait for when the storm is over, and you'll be as safe as possible. And for those people who are having electrical installations, follow the rules. If you mess up the regulations and you think you have been outsmarting some people, when you die alone. So follow the instructions. If there's supposed to be the earthing being done, although it is expensive, but your life is more expensive than just a mere metal rod that you have put down there.
Okay, thank you very much. I go back to Madam Ahura. I have also noticed that some schools have not complied with this requirement. What do you think? Why is it that not all schools have complied with this directive of the Ministry of Education?
It is the poverty which is a leading issue. The Ministry of Education to do the inspection itself, not just to say that you install the lightning without providing people with money. The school should be provided with money. Thank you.
Okay, so Benon, what do you think about this issue of some areas, like particularly public institutions, not complying with this requirement?
Well, I will say that in my culture, they say when you are bitten by a snake, you should fear all the holes. I think the number of people who have died are big a number enough to let us really take heed of this. That if you are in a head of school or any gathering place, and your place is not having a lightning conduct, devise means. because it's no longer a witchcraft issue like they were saying in Chidiandongo or other places. Try to make sure that you get, whether you use PTA, get the lightning connector and at least install it on one of the buildings, if not all. So the people always have a tendency of wanting not to spend and use some money for other things, but I wish they could take their life as a first priority, because all the buildings which were struck are new buildings which should be fantastic, and all the kids we lost, they could have been a better generation for tomorrow.
How are people struck by lightning handled? Because in cases like, for example, Ebola and these other Marburg, there are situations that require to handle such people. What about those who are hit by lightning?
In the event that a person is struck by lightning, proper care should be given. Because lightning strike victims don't remain connected to power, they do not carry electric charge, they may be safely handled. However, a person who is engaged in dealing with that must consider his position first. You know, lightning strikes a particular place more than twice if the conditions are favorable. If a person is being struck by lightning, he should be given a pulsary restriction effect. If he is being struck, he should be checked. We should treat the dead first. Those ones which have been struck more than the other, they should be given care first. Always activate the emergency action plan and the emergency management system. Survey the scheme for safety. Careful move the victim to safe area if needed. Evaluate and treat any breathing or circulation problem. Evaluate and treat any hypothermia and shock. Evaluate and treat for fractures. Evaluate and treat for burns.
I'm not a medical doctor, but as she said, you must make sure that they understand that the person cannot contain the charge and fear that maybe you'll be electrocuted. But the problem is, if it's struck, there is a likelihood that there could be another one coming. So you should be keen and very careful. Now, with this opportunity, I would like to explain on one issue where a listener said, Okwale Justus from Katakwi said that people were vandalizing the lightning conductors thinking that there is some mercury. Maybe in medieval days or some days back, as of current, they do not use mercury in the lightning conductor installation. The parts which are put down are either a mat made of copper or a copper rod, or sometimes they put there some salt to increase the conductivity from the metal to the soil. So people shouldn't steal them thinking that there is some mercury.
Okay, thank you very much, dear listener. We're having difficulty, I think, with our line. It can't easily open, but you can take advantage of the SMS line 0793861894. This is SMS line 0793861894. Send us a text message on that line, and then experts on weather issues will answer your queries or discuss with you on your whatever area you'll have handled regarding lightning in Uganda. And so far, for now, go through some messages. Let me ask Mr. Benon TWINAMASIKO maybe to go through some of those he has so far received.
So I've got one so far just now that in the areas, majority of the population are poor. So how can they? Please use the SMS line as an SMS line. The 0793861894 is for SMS, not for calling. So the population is so poor. How can they be assisted with those lightning protectors? By Dan Bumudu in Sironko. I will let my colleague to answer that as I read others.
With the government intervention and international organization intervention, lightning arresters can be achieved at a low cost value. Thank you.
There was another SMS before that people have lost morals and dismantled lightning conductors to look for mutually. We need as a policy to install conductors to all buildings in the country. And that was by Okware Justice in Katakwi district. Yes, there must be a policy, but also as Ugandans, we need to have some morals. I mean, we need to know that this is our country. If somebody installs something and you steal it, for example, if somebody has a car and you take away side mirror, how do you expect such a person to reach home? So I would urge people to make sure that they take installations for safety as safety precautions. You never know, it could be your child in a school where you stole the lightning conductor. It could be a church where you took away the lightning conductor and your relative is there and is struck by lightning.
Can you give us a global picture? So far we've seen what's happening in Uganda. How is the picture globally?
My colleague will add on, but I will use an example of US. Most people may think that in the United States, being a developed country, there wouldn't be any lightning cases happening there, but they receive over 2,000 cases a year, and those are of death. Some are found on the water sailing and they are struck. Others are struck in the buildings. All of you know about the current case of Sandy hurricane they got, and they were all devastated. So the cases are it's a wide problem. As long as such an area receives rainfall, which is stormy, lightning will strike there. And the only difference is that most of the developed countries actually take precautions. But you know very well that last year when we were at the peak, we had Kenya having also many cases, and as much as even people being struck in the night, and the whole grass-thatched house being burnt to ashes.
When lightning strikes in a situation like that, for example, what are the immediate remedies that can be done to, say, prevent it from further damage of properties around?
Further damage of properties, it is only that you have to keep away from tall trees. You have to keep away from connecting to electric equipment to avoid the ground touch potential, because lightning can strike a part like in Katwe, and it can be conducted through the ground to this place here. So every equipment should have a secondary lightning protection. That is what they call surge protection should be done. Always people, they should avoid taking place around the trees. In fact, it is alarming that the number of people or number of victims who are being struck while taking shelter under the tree, it is increasing. So this year, 7 incidents have occurred while our people have been taking shelter under the tree. We need research, we need sensitizing people, we need public awareness.
So I will tell people that actually I have another SMS here, that why is lightning common in Uganda, not other parts of East Africa? Indeed, it is happening in other parts of East Africa, but we don't get these stories easily around here more than they are. And this was by Boaz in Palisa. Another one, that what if I'm swimming, Julius Mujulizi, depending on where you are swimming, whether it is a pond, whether it is a river, water conducts electricity, and lightning is an electricity phenomenon, you should be worried. If you are a fisherman on a boat and you are caught in the middle of the lake, at least keep in your boat and crouch in your boat. If you are on the shore, go out of the water and go in as much place away from the water. If it is a protected building, be in the protected building. If you are in no building around, squat, which we call crouching. You squat down, put your head in between your legs, and be as low as possible. I will continue trying to see whether we can read more SMSs. Another SMS by you have to. Okay. In short, for me, I would say that we should make sure we follow the precautions. I know in the village it is hard to put a lightning conductor on your grass-thatched building, but at least try to make sure that when it is raining, you take the precautions we have talked about. Don't be in the rain. Let kids not play in the rain as it is raining, because they have the high chances of being struck. And someone asks, what is the connection between lightning and people crowding in one place or shelter under trees? Why is that such places are prone to being struck? We've said that lightning is a build-up of high charge, and our bodies as human beings are conducting. For example, if you went on a TV and you touched on the area of the TV with your feet bare on the ground, you hear a tickle in your hands, meaning that our bodies conduct. I'm using the TV because it is you are not going to be shocked by electricity. Otherwise, don't try to touch an electric wire to test what I'm talking about. So if you are too many people in one building, you'll end up having the problem of being more conducting to this high charge. And if you are all barefooted on a wet floor of the classroom or on a wet cement of the classroom, you are prone to being struck. Now the trees. If you take shelter under a tree and then you find that you are too many under the tree, and the lightning is attracted, let me say attracted by this tree, the tree does not conduct efficiently. So it will try to go through our bodies, I mean human beings' body, which is more conducting than a tree, and we cannot sustain that amount of current. Someone asks that what about collecting rainwater? Should we use?
What should we use?
What should we use? When it is raining, you should not try to go to the well to collect water, or when you want to kulembeka, to collect some water from the gutter. Do not go out there when it is raining with bare feet and then you start collecting water, because you will conduct this electricity from lightning and you'll be struck by lightning. So we should avoid that.
And also they should use proper storage measures. They should have tanks for collecting water, rainwater.
Thank you very much. I'd like to continue apologizing. Really, the phone line is a little bit faulty. We can't get through, but text message will work for us. 07938618894. I encourage you to text us on that line, 07938618894, and of course you will hear communication directly from our experts who are here in the studio today. We are focusing on lightning in the country, and as you know, I've already said that 9 people died last week, 6 in northern Uganda and 3 in western Uganda.
Yes, we have another one having a concern about uniports, Collins in Entebbe. If you have taken keen interest, you would find that containers have a ground, their floors are in wooden. You find that on the floor there is some wood which is put there. And the issue is because is to make sure that there is some insulation kind of put there. In an inport, the inport may not be as dangerous as actually a grass-thatched house, because when this charge comes, it first distributes itself around the whole uniport. And you know, a lightning is a flash. It happens in milliseconds, in a millionth of a second. So in a uniport, you are more safe that the charge is conducted all over the uniport before it actually reaches you and causes problems to you. But still, if you are in, you deserve to be being protected or avoid being a conductor between any charge that would come and the ground. So that means you should be either in sandals, which are rubber, or there should be a plastic carpet or something that is insulating.
Or else you should not lean on the plastic container or metallic container, because you can get contact injury mechanism of lightning. So when you are inside the metallic building, you just keep away. Don't lean on the wall.
Okay, we don't have much time, but we will need to hear more of your text messages. Can you proceed, sir?
Yeah, there is one saying that, please may you clearly explain the cause of lightning, because people say it is locally done in that a cock may be seen after that. Samson in Mbale. Samson, if you bring anyone who can make lightning and a black cock or whatever white cock happens, I can give them my salary. It's not so big, but I will offer it if that one happened. Again, if lightning, yes, may happen when there is kind of bright weather, but that means in the middle around that place there could be rain happening in a place, because it can rain here in one place and about 10 miles it is shining, and you may think that it is shining and someone was struck when it was shining, but when somebody was near an electric line which came from the other side, or when there is a stream of water or a river. So I don't believe in lightning being witchcraft, but those who are traditionalists can prove it and we shall agree. I take it to be a scientific phenomenon.
Lightning is caused by atmospheric electrification, and it can extend a distance of 10 kilometers from the mother thunderstorm cloud.
Another SMS says, how best can the rural people with grass-thatched huts use lightning conductors where they can be found? Therefore, this is a me to Peter Francis in Serere. Thank you for listening, but in most of these places, even if you are in a grass thatched house, you should avoid having wires where we normally want to put clothes, like putting one of the wires on a pole near our house and then another pole the other side, because this wire may be a conducting place, and some people may even extend this wire to the inside of the house for putting clothes in the house. So avoid such kind of things. At least have the poles isolated, 2 poles isolated somewhere, and a wire put there for covering. So you should, if it is raining, make sure that you are avoiding stepping on the floor and just sit there inside. At least when it catches fire, you can run out and be safe. But my colleague can add on that as I look at more SMSs.
We are in the process of formulating a national adaptation policy on lightning protection. I think grass-thatched houses should completely be avoided because of recent incidents. 7 incidents which killed people at night in northern Uganda occurred in grass-thatched houses, and it accounted for 13 personal deaths. So it should be easily avoided because it had low resistance to lightning.
I have another SMS by Matthias, that why most serious in West than the North. Well, it's hard for me to explain, but maybe what we had not talked about is the effect of the degradation of the environment by cutting off some forests and some vegetation, because this vegetation can help by lightning striking some trees in some forest, and then we are a bit relieved. So the climate change problem of having cut off some trees and also the weather pattern changing has escalated the lightning atrocities. But the cases are almost distributed west and the north equally.
Okay, according to the Western Uganda is affected by the Congo air mass, and the Congo air mass is a mass, and it is warm, and this one it is a characteristic which is required for the formation of the ground to cloud lightning strikes. Also, according to FAO findings 2005, it says that areas which had scattered vegetation of trees is more prone to ground to cloud lightning strikes, as the case of northern Uganda.
Thank you very much. Really, this marks the end of tonight's program. We don't have more time at all. I'm I apologize once again that it was not possible to hear your own voices because of the communication problem, but I'm sure you've heard what the experts on this subject have talked to you. I was hosting Mr. Benon Fred TWINAMASIKO, physicist from the Makerere University Department of Physics, and also Ahura Kuriaka Mere, weather meteorologist, and is from the National Meteorological Center in Entebbe. We've been focusing on lightning in Uganda, and because of the interesting subject of this one, and that we didn't have much time to interact with you, we will have another day when we bring this guest back, and then we can hear your views at that time. And until then, Henry Baguma and Oceano Robert saying good night and stay well.